My name is Elaine Darbyshire. I am Director of Communications and Corporate Affairs for NHS North of England. That involves all of the corporate governance and making sure we're doing the right thing from a corporate perspective on the corporate affairs side, and ensuring that all of the NHS organisations in the north of England are communicating in the right way with their patients, their public, their stakeholders, anybody who does business with them. I've been in with the NHS for 3 years. I had 22 years experience with Guardian Media Group. I think having come from a private sector background, joining the NHS was quite a cultural shift, and I think that the investment that was made in me as part of the Top Leaders programme was something that was incredibly helpful, and I think very beneficial from a number of different angles, really. Not something that I'd experienced as much of in the private sector. It tended to be on an individual course-by-course basis. This is has been much more of a holistic programme around leadership and leadership development. I think it's as much about perspective and breadth, about having been part of the Top Leaders programme from the very beginning, having met a number of different managers, directors, and obviously the leadership talent in the NHS, being able to see things from different perspectives. And I think it's given a different focus around what it takes to be a top leader. It's sort of what it says on the tin, really. The cohort group I was in, we had a finance director, an IT director of a large hospital group, we had a chief executive of a hospital down in the south of England, all of whom had really individual perspectives on the way that you would see problems and issues. And I think that certainly gave me a really different feel for the way issues can be dealt with in lots of different ways. So I probably wouldn't have come across the group that I ended up working very closely with. And I think as a result of the programme, I could pick the phone up to any one of them now and ask them about an issue, and they would, really help me out. So it's been developmental on a personal basis and also on a professional basis. And then, like I say, that 360-degree look at issues has been really helpful. I think the NHS as a body, as an organisation, faces a huge cultural change. The reforms that are going through the NHS currently with the Health and Social Care Bill puts an awful lot more emphasis on the cultural aspects of leadership, about how you bring people through along on a journey of change, and how you get the most out of people in a very fast-moving environment. And it really is, things are changing quite quickly, particularly as I sit more on the commissioning side of things. I think the thing I found hardest is actually in a very busy environment and with lots to do, and the day job is immense. Making time to invest in yourself and your leadership talents, using all the tools that are available to you on the Top Leaders programme, I would say you really need to put some time aside to make this work. The diagnostic was hugely helpful. It was one of the most thorough diagnostics I've ever been through, and I've been through a number in my career. Just being able to look at you from every different angle, which was sometimes a little uncomfortable, but was actually really helpful in terms of helping to identify where you needed to put your own efforts in terms of your own development. It surprised me because my vision of me as sort of fairly direct, plain speaking, quite driven, I came across as actually far more coaching, mentoring than I thought I would. Management and the leadership skill set that the Leadership Academy can bring, I think will be hugely beneficial to clinicians, because they have to have a much more rounded job than the purely medical or the purely clinical now. We expect an awful lot of our doctors and nurses. And I think to understand the management landscape and to understand some of the challenges that the NHS is going through requires quite a broad set of skills. I think the exciting bit for me about the Leadership Academy and what it offers going forward is the fact that you can bring together communities of practice, you can bring together like-minded people, and this is the top leadership talent in the NHS. We should be getting those people together to solve some of the issues that the NHS faces. So I think it offers a number of different possibilities in the future. I aspire to work for the best brand in the country, if not the world, and I think I was really, really pleased to join the NHS. It was a complete quantum leap from where I came from, and it is culturally very different from where I came from. But I think in terms of working for a blue chip organisation, it actually doesn't get much better than the NHS.